Hey everybody, welcome to Enhance Don't Distract, episode number 44. You know what? I do this every time. Hang on, just I gotta pull up my list of Jordan nicknames.
That's right. I forget that we're always doing this. So last week it was Jordo, which I've never heard before.
Oh Lord, where is it? I have so many pictures in here. All right. All right, ready? Here we go again.
I'm not asking anything.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Enhance Don't Distract, episode number 44. My name is Justin Edmonds, and my co-host is J-Ho. I'm telling you, man, I got a list of awesome nicknames for you. So J-Ho came up.
J-Lo came from.
Oh man, Jordan Horace. And today we're going to be talking about something, fantastic like we always do. I honestly, I'm not really sure what we're talking about. That's kind of more Jordan's department. He comes up with a bunch of topics and then says, hey, what do you think about this? And I just get to rant and ramble and say my thoughts because I have an opinion on everything. May not always be right, but it is an opinion. So
Everybody's got one.
But before we start, I don't think we have, you don't have anything for Gear Corner today.
No.
Yeah,
we want to get something for people that would be helpful and maybe they don't know about. So.
You know what? I got you. Okay. This is a brand of IT equipment that I think everyone should have because I've had so much good luck with this. As I say that, it's written on the back of here, bad HDMI. So it's funny. J5 Creative.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. I love this company. I found them a while back where they were the only ones that really worked well with Mac in the whole EDID when they started really pushing the EDID handshake stuff for displays and stuff. But these guys have a dongle adapter for like everything. And this is my favorite one from them. I have had multiples versions of the ones that they have, but this is my favorite to the point where I have multiples. This one does have the bad HDMI because I've used this one so much. It's like, it doesn't really, you can't really tell in this light, but it's dirty. It's gross because it's been touched a lot.
Those things do just have a shelf life. Can we just say that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's got micro SD, full size SD. It's got USB-C pass-through and power pass-through. It has RJ45, and then it has 3 USB-As and an HDMI on it, all through a USB-C connection.
Yep.
So this literally has been a lifesaver for me in so many ways because it has everything on it. I think I own 3 of this exact adapter, which is why I had to label it bad HDMI because I kept grabbing that one to plug an HDMI adapter into it. But yeah, that's my Gear Corner. J5 Creative as a whole. They're doing tons of stuff now. Like I bought backup power supplies for my PC computer over here from J5. They have like HDMI splitters.
Very Mac friendly. It's
very Mac friendly.
J5create.com, and the 5 is actually number 5.
Yes.
So not spelled out.
I always say creative, but it's create. You're right.
Right.
I can't even say my own thing.
It's okay. It's free promos. I mean, if they want to send us stuff, we'll totally demo things.
J5, if you got anything, send it our way.
Yeah. But they do really make a lot of stuff. They've been Mac friendly for a really long time. Everything from docks to keyboards and adapters and power stuff. And
I have one of their webcams. I mean, it's not like amazing webcam, but it was cost effective and it looked good.
Yeah.
And it just worked. So can't really complain about that.
Nope.
But that's Gear Corner for today. Still no song. Thank you, Sean. I don't think he's ever going to make one. So this is just turning into like a Casey Neistat and Dan Mace, like funny comedy routine here. Right. But hey, before we get into the topic, I want to put this in this place now. So make sure you subscribe, give us a 5-star review if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps, the algorithms and stuff like that for people to get to know us. Watch until the end, comment, all those things really help YouTube put us in front of people. The more the more we are going through, the more like consumption time we're getting. That helps us also push towards our goal of being able to be monetized. Subscribing gets us to that 1,000 mark. Once we get to that 1,000 mark, it's going to be like floodgates open because YouTube goes, hey, people really like this. You hit 1,000 subscribers, and then they start putting us in front of more and more people. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, we don't post a whole lot of things in the community and shorts. It's not like we're going to be blowing up your feed. We post, this podcast about once a week and a couple shorts here and there. So it would really mean the world to both me and Jordan and Sean, both three of us, all three of us. So hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend or 5 friends or 12.
Yep.
So, all right. Hey, Jordan, what are we talking about?
So today, we want to talk about just like you're getting ready to install a new or purchase a new video system, or maybe need an upgrade, or maybe need something in a different space. We want to talk through just the concept of going to a PTZ camera versus a manned camera or more traditional camera setup.
There's cameras.
Yeah, and cameras for like a live environment, for like live streaming or capturing. There's a lot of pros and cons for either of them. So I just want to get into that and talk and maybe help people that are kind of wrestling with that to help make their decision and things like that. So Justin, what's the use case? Because I think the default is manned, right? When you can do that, go for it. There's some things with that, but
I think best practice is man cam.
Yeah.
I mean, there's caveats to everything, right? So like we've kind of talked about this where it's like, I like man cam better, right? Because like there's nothing that can follow a human being like a human being, right? I can get to know how my pastor walks, right? And know how that he's going to get to this point and stop and then go the other way, right?
Yep.
At my church, we have one of our pastors is specific. He's a mover. He's a walker. And he paces back and forth. Like he never sits still, right?
Yep.
And it's literally like ping pong, right? It's like watching pong, right? He like whoop,
on the wide shot.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So like when we film him, like we're wider on him than when some of our pastors that don't really move around, right? So yeah, man cam I feel is always preferable. Now
I'd agree. Yeah,
that's not really a reality for I would say a majority of people.
Yep.
So
I agree.
What I like about the idea of PTZ cameras is that it allows for a full-blown broadcast setup.
Yep.
That could be run by one person. Right? One person could run 4 cameras while managing a live stream and recording and doing
like video directing.
Yeah. Video directing, right? One person could do all of that technically, right? And when you grow people-wise, and then you go, hey, we have people that could man cameras.
Yep.
You're not in a place where you're going, well, we had to throw this PTZ camera away to make that work. PTZ cameras can be used in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
Right? You can take a PTZ camera and put it on the stage and get stage shots.
Yep.
Which then you get really cool stage shots without a person walking around.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
You can do some really cool wide shots. A lot of these PTZ cameras have built-in movability memories.
I've not heard of that feature before.
Movabilities?
Yeah, movability.
It's because it's not real. It's a made-up word that some reason my brain just spit it out. But yeah, it's you can put a memory like start here, right, and then go here and do this while you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge asset to have. PTZs are good in smaller spaces where there's not because like I have clients that literally will say, hey, we have people that can man the cameras, but we don't have places to put the man cameras, right?
Yep.
Number one option is always, can we get a Savvy mount in there? Shout out Savvy.
Yep.
Right? Because that cuts down the space by like a quarter immediately. Sorry, like you're in a quarter of the space immediately, right? If that's still not enough, right, then it's like, okay, then let's maybe look at, can we get some higher end cameras on PTZ head, right? If that's not really an option, then obviously like there's some PTZ cameras that are pretty baller. The thing about PTZ cameras cost wise is that I feel like there's a pretty big price jump when you go from basic standard to like the really nice ones. Yeah. So like if you're gonna throw like a Panasonic GH5 or a Sony FX6 or a Canon, I don't know what the R series, or like a pocket camera or something on a PTZ head.
Yeah.
The quality you get out of that and the cost to buy that camera and that lens and all that kind of jazz versus just buying like a straight up really nice like PTZ camera, there's still a pretty high delta.
Yeah.
In my opinion, from what I found. Because like when you start getting into like the really nice, you know, Canon, Panasonic, Sony cameras that are PTZ cameras, they're like $11,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
Right. And I could buy, you know, a GH6 for, you know, $2,500. I could buy a PTZ head that would move that for probably $2,000. So, you know, we're at $4,500. A lens, let's say we put a really nice lens on it for $1,000, right? We're at $5,500.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially third of that cost. Yeah.
Right. Even if we added another $2,000, right, we're still only at $7,000, which we're still anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000 cheaper than those really nice PTZ cameras. And those PTZ cameras are really nice. Oh yeah. Like I think the Sony one that's I think like 12 or 13 grand. Like they use those in Hard Knocks for like HBO, and it's really awesome. They look great. Like I remember going, wow, that's a PTZ camera. Like I was like, I gotta know what PTZ camera is because like that's really nice. Oh, they don't use the Sony ones; they use the Panasonic ones because they were able to shoot in the PTZ versions of Vlog, which you know for color correction, which is like what we shoot in here, and then color correct for the podcast. So yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the beautiful thing that you know, it's finding the solution that works for you. Yeah. The other big thing I like about kind of having a more traditional camera on a PTZ head is that you can then take that camera and do other things with it. You're not locked into just being PTZ. But I think you made it great.
Jordan, no.
What?
I hate that idea. I hate moving cameras out of the sanctuary.
I'm just saying. No,
don't give people those options. I used to give that idea all the time.
Okay. Scratch that, everybody. That's not
the camera gets broken and it's the main camera. We talked about this on the last podcast.
No. Not like the main camera, but I'm saying like if it's a secondary or something like that, like it gives you some flexibility. So
all right. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. Be smart with your gear, everybody. But yeah, and then I think a big win for the PTZs is that I can go places that the man can't. So. And I will say, I will also add, I've been becoming more and more a fan of PTZs. There's the quality and there's some other things there, but if you know what you're doing, 1 to 2 people can run
a really big rig.
PTZ cameras really slick, and really fast. And I think that's actually one of the, I would say, advantages for the PTZs is that you can get your shots. If you're preset, you can be getting shots like seconds back to back.
You just said it. You hit the nail on the head. Presets.
Yes.
Getting people getting presets is such a big deal.
Absolutely.
And I get the question like, well, we have a different band every week, right? How do we set presets for that? Well, because the thing is that you have multiple spots. So like for me, what I always did is I had my spot. If we have a single leader, this is where you stand.
Yep.
If you have 2 leaders, this is where you 2 stand. If you have 3 leaders, this is where you 3 stand. Yep. Right. And those spots, there's 3 spots that are up there, right? So no matter what the situation is, right, there's always someone in that spot. Right. Yep. So you've got like imagine 3 X's, right? X and X on each side, right?
Yeah.
So if it's one person, center X. If it's 2 people, outside X's. If it's 3 people, obviously all 3 X's.
Yep.
Right.
And this okay, go on. Yeah.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say this also completely is a huge ad for your lighting people and your lighting director because they're no longer having to be just flexing every week. They are like, if it's this spot, this fader. If it's this spot, this fader. Done.
Yeah, and then you don't end up with like, oh, why is he 7 inches off from the spot that he normally stands at?
Yeah, or why are they overlit or underlit? It's like, nope, same lights.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and then you just have presets for all those different spots.
Yep. And certainly if you're not doing this is kind of part of your service prep. I think on the day on Sunday morning is running through all those presets, making sure that they look right. You don't want to roll right into service assuming that the presets are great from last week. So,
yeah, because the great thing is, like, say that he is like 2 inches off from his spot, right? And like the camera shot is not lined completely up, right? you can hit that preset, right? That brings the camera to that spot. And then you can do your micro adjustment and then record that same preset over top of that preset and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's not like you're in home position and you're having to like readjust, every single thing, which takes forever at the beginning. Right.
Yeah.
It's just, presets help you record better presets and give you a lot more like versatility. And it's a PTZ. It's not like it's locked in that spot as soon as you hit that preset.
Yeah. No. Yeah. A lot of times I'll even use presets as just like the general vicinity of the shot and then tweak it as needed. So what, any other situations where PTZ should, or maybe wins or should like really be strongly considered?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's space, it is personnel. Those are the two like main things. Cost wise, you're kind of a wash, you can be kind of a wash.
Yeah.
Obviously on both sides, man camera or PTZ cameras, like you can get really expensive. So I don't think finances really like give you that option. I mean, there is a level of like, it's hard because like there's not really a sub $1,300 PTZ camera that's not absolutely trash where you could just buy a pocket camera and do the same thing. Yeah. Yep. At the same cost, right? So it's like there's not like there's not a cheaper cost camera because in PTZ world than man cam world, right? Or vice versa.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
They both have economical options.
Right. So I don't think that there's any financial gain there. As I sit here and think about all this, it's like, it's just like personnel, you don't have a lot of it. PTZ is a win. If space is a problem, then PTZ is a win because you can mount them on a wall or on a ceiling, those kind of things. The negatives about PTZ over manned, vibration is a big thing. If you're mounted to a wall and you have, contemporary music, you're going to have to buy anti-shock mounts and, try and make sure it's attached to the most stable wall that you can possibly mount to. I've had to have clients like span studs, with like plywood, get a big old piece of plywood, span those two, and then mount the middle to the drywall as well, right? So that it's not moving as much as possible, to try it, and then put the anti-shock, mount on there to try and kill as much as possible. Okay. Where with a man cam, I mean, sit it on the concrete floor and you should be good. If you're, again, shout out to Savvy, if you're on the Savvy mount, you're bolted to the concrete. So you are part of the building. And I have yet to see, outside of some extreme circumstances, a camera vibrate on a Savvy mount.
And again, that's also where too the operator having a hand on the controls will also even kind of render some of that out. So that's good. Yep. I'd also say too, like I think sometimes focus can be a little bit harder on PTZs, and then just the image is not always as great. And also, I don't really know that there's a solution for like depth of field. And getting that look like that.
You have to have the higher end cameras for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have to get into like you can't buy the PTZ optics or the bird dogs to really get that. Like you have to live in the realm of like the Canons and the Panasonics and the Sonys to be able to get that. And even there, like you can't be in their lower end stuff. You got to be at least on some of the stuff that's pushing like, $3,000 a camera, to get, that bokeh feel and stuff like that.
Right. So let's switch it over to man cameras. I mean, obviously we said in the beginning, they're our preference. Maybe they're still a priority. Just quickly, like pros are you get
image quality,
control, image quality.
Image quality is probably the biggest one of everything. I mean, I feel like there's a couple of, instances, but image quality is probably the biggest. Cameras usually have bigger sensors, more processing capabilities, more output capabilities. I think it's being manned. You have, someone physically standing there that's focused on just that camera. Right. Whereas like if you're running
shot's always ready.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing PTZ camera setup, me and you have both been in this position. We're sitting there running 4 PTZ cameras and the ATEM and the live stream, right? And we're able to do that, and we're able to do that really well. But it's like, oh, why haven't you gone to camera 3? Well, it's out of focus, and I haven't had a chance to focus it, right? You don't have that problem with man cameras.
Yeah.
Because you just say, hey, camera 3, focus. Please pull focus. Please pull focus. A little sharper. Yep. There you go. You're good.
Roll it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that adds to that, right? And then you also get you get a human feel to it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think of big production, right? Take Elevation for instance. Even their slider cam has a very human feel to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a robot sitting in a corner doing something.
Okay.
Right? I personally feel like I see a guy pushing a camera on a slider.
Okay.
Right?
Are you talking, is that more of the movement is not as robotic? Or
yeah.
I don't know, yeah. I think the other thing.
Imagine this. I know this is something you've seen. You've seen the difference between a camera that's on a slider, right? That's just going up and down.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. You hit go, and the camera goes up.
Yeah.
And it comes down. That's all it does, right?
Yep.
Awesome shot, right? We don't have a lot of volunteers. We have a small space, right? I have clients that have that, and it's great for what they're doing. It's amazing.
Yep.
Right. I am not knocking it. I'm not saying not to do it. Now compare that to a camera on a jib doing the same motion.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if that's apples and oranges here.
You're getting the same effect. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying a swing, right? I'm saying the same effect, right? If you just go up and down, right?
Arming up and down. Okay.
On a jib, going up, going down, going up, going down.
Yeah.
Imagine how both of those look, because I know you know what both of those look like.
Yeah.
Tell me which one looks like a human's doing it, and which one looks like a robot doing it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the jib, because I think also too there or whatever apparatus really, because you're still able to make fine, and I think this is the human touch, corrections to give a little bit more look space or follow along, or even to zoom in or tighten up on something if need be.
Yeah,
and I think that's also a big positive for man cameras, that you can really accomplish some complex shots. Not that you can't with PTZ, but
I can sit there and I can say, when I watch Elevation, I can tell that slider cam is a human being pushing a camera, right? It's not a camera that's been set on a rig that someone's hit play and it just goes and does its thing.
Yeah.
Right. There's a level of difference, and maybe that's just me because of how much we do this, right? And the average person can't tell. I bet you that's true, right?
I think there's that element of that. Yeah.
Totally understand that. And I'm not, please hear me, I'm not saying not to do these things, right? I've done them myself, right?
Right.
get the shot that you can get.
Yeah. We're saying it's a good win if that's all you have. But if you can put a person on there, and if you can run a man camera, there are those benefits to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, making decisions on the fly, right? Someone moves, right? I'm paying attention to the live stream over here, right? And then all of a sudden, for some reason, the pastor that never moves has decided to move, right?
Yep.
Or the worship leader that I'm focused on just stops singing and drops to his knees to worship, and there's nothing behind him, and it's we should maybe go to a wide shot or something like that, It's like a man camera can go, oh, what's that? And just follow along or do something, type thought process. So it's it's a team effort at that point instead of just one person.
Yeah. Yeah. One mind or operator versus multiple. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any cons you can think of for man stuff? Again, I know I feel like it's kind of like a balance sheet where it's the pros of the PTZ or, maybe some of the cons on the man or, vice versa.
My cons for the man cameras are honestly the exact same things that are the pros. It's the human beings, because now you're dealing with a volunteer, who potentially does not understand headroom. And no matter how many times you tell them, headroom, you still end up with a football field over top of someone's head. I have those, you know.
I think we all have those.
Right.
Yeah.
Or no matter how many times you say, hey, listen, when the guy's walking, right, you want the space to be in front of him, not behind him, so that when he does stop,
yeah,
he's still framed up correctly, right?
Yep.
And instead, you know, everyone looks like this. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the biggest cons are, you know, unfortunately, the human beings that run them.
Yeah.
So it's funny that the con and the pro are the same thing.
Yeah, but it's just something to be aware of. I mean, that's, you know, your operators and who's you like. I think that's a big takeaway from this conversation is who's operating this stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think another con is that man cams can be more costly when you start thinking about peripherals, not just the physical camera.
Yes.
Right. Because now you have to add a comm system in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
that's
to add
critical for man situation.
hand controls, right?
Yep.
Nicer tripod head, right?
Yep. You need a shader. Who's controlling the image of the camera?
Depending on the camera, you might need a larger display than what's built into the camera.
Yep.
So that someone can see it, right? Because like some of these cameras come in with like these little itty bitty 3-inch displays, which, you know, when I'm shooting a testimony video and I can get, you know, right up on top of it to look at it and then back up and go record, yeah, you're good. But when I'm sitting there trying to follow someone, you know, that little thing, like that's fatiguing to the person.
3 feet away.
When it's 3 feet away from you, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have like the studio cameras come with a 7-inch, you know, display on them, right? Why you can buy a 7-inch monitor from Blackmagic, you know, that can attach to the camera, you know, those things. You know, Grass Valley's the same way, you know, Panasonic VariCams, they're all the same way, right? They all have the option to add a 7 to 12 to 14-inch, you know, display to them to not be fatiguing. So those are some of the cons, I think, you know, and I don't think those are bad cons. I don't think that that's anything that would ever scare me away from doing it.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, adds more money. And that's why Blackmagic is who they are, right?
Yeah.
Because they've combined a lot of those things. Like the studio cameras that they have comms built into them, right?
Yep.
So as long as you're connected to one of their ATEMs, you can plug a headset right into the ATEM and then plug a headset into the camera and you have comms, right? You don't have to buy a ClearComm system that costs thousands of dollars. You buy, you know, an aviation headset off of Amazon for, you know, $200, you know, and you've got comms for, you know, 2 people or 3 people or whatever. And they work, you know, pretty good when you can get them to work.
Yep. No, I've always said for a long time, if you can stay in that Blackmagic ecosystem,
ecosystem.
Things work.
We need to talk about ecosystems. We keep saying that. I have a feeling that people don't know what that means.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is like just like a family of product or product line that are designed to work together.
Not a system. Okay.
Yeah,
when we talked about system, it's a bunch of products that work together, right?
Right.
When we say an ecosystem, number one thing that pops into my head is L-acoustics, right? So what they have is they have the speaker, they have the sub, they have the brackets, they have the amplifier, they have the DSP, they have everything. So you can deploy an entire sound system, like a PA system, with their product 100% from top to bottom.
Yep. That is designed to work together and optimized for that.
And there's 2 reasons why that is important to have.
Yeah.
And this is probably a full podcast that we could have on this. But number one is, how many times have you gone and had a problem and gone, I'm trying to figure this problem out.
Yeah.
And the amp manufacturer says, no, it's the speaker manufacturer.
Yep.
And the speaker manufacturer says, no, it's the DSP manufacturer.
Yep.
And they all turn into the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other.
This is going to be a good thumbnail for our.
Yeah.
It'll have nothing to do with the topic.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So that's number one. Number 2 is that in the instance that we're talking about with the acoustic stuff, is that they have engineers that are trying to make their speakers sound better from their presets that are built into their DSP, right?
Yeah.
So you get updates, you get protection, you know that they're being powered correctly, right? Like you don't find an acoustic sound speaker that says it's a 1,000-watt speaker, right? Like you can get that data, but like that's not how anyone that designs an acoustic system designs. They know that they can handle 4A10 on a single channel of, blah, blah, blah controller and so on and so forth. Right. Because like, it's designed inside of this ecosystem, right? It's no longer, you're not trying to match a speaker and an amplifier from another company, that don't necessarily like work together.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes for a lot of those bigger speaker manufacturers, but that's an ecosystem.
Or even in this instance, how you can shade Blackmagic cameras from a video switcher,
right?
And the video control system, like that is huge. Honestly, that is a game changer feature in my opinion. So,
yep.
So, why does Blackmagic not make a PTZ then?
That's that's been the big question. The big
and
question.
I say that kind of jokingly, but also seriously.
Everyone was like, "Why does Blackmagic not make a box camera for the cinema side of things?" Well, they just finally released a box camera.
Yeah,
the Pixis. Everyone's super excited about it. They have never said why. They never will, probably. I think it is more along the lines of they need to do it in a certain level of price point, and my guess would be that they haven't been able to do that effectively.
Yep. Where it might be disruptive to the, and I'm just totally blanking on the word.
The industry,
market. Yeah, the industry, the marketplace. Yeah,
yeah. Because I mean, imagine getting a Blackmagic PTZ camera that has the Pocket 4K sensor in it, right? Like that would be massive,
right?
Or a really high level broadcast Ursa, PTZ camera that has the Ursa sensor in it. Like, oh my gosh, like
yeah,
that would destroy the industry.
Yeah.
Even
if it was like kind of Ursa pricing, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's not like the Ursa's that expensive.
No, exactly.
I mean, imagine that because they don't make glass, right? So like when you buy the Ursa broadcast, you still have to buy the glass for it. So it's like when you buy the bundles with the Fujinon lenses and stuff like that, like you can get an Ursa broadcast set up for like I think it's like $8,000 or $9,000. Mm-hmm. So would I pay $8,000 or $9,000 for a PTZ camera from Blackmagic that has the same sensor and features as the broadcast Ursa? Yes, I would. 100%. And you know what? Guess what? It could have Fujinon glass inside of it for all I care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
People, I mean, that's the thing. People would like, they just, I mean, this can be a whole nother podcast as well, but like, I just dig their stuff. Like they do have a high level quality for a good price point.
Are they as good a quality as like some of the other brands out there? No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like there's obviously like there's cameras. Yeah, there's cameras that are better built, longer lifespan. But my argument is like, why spend $100,000 on a Grass Valley camera when I could spend $12,000 on an Ursa camera, and I could literally buy 10 cameras for the price of one.
Yep.
And you don't get bottlenecked into, oh well, we did a 1080p upgrade and now 4K is the standard, and well, we just spent $500,000 upgrading cameras, and we're stuck here.
So I mean that, if you're not thinking about this as a viewer, this is one of the things is quantity of cameras impacts your production. Mm-hmm. So that is also something to think about, when you're starting to look at video systems, like, could you add another camera to this? Like, I know it sounds silly, and it's not materialism. It's just more of like, that gets you an additional angle, an additional operator, an additional shot when you're cutting.
Yeah. An ecosystem for cameras are big, right? Because like imagine buying 4 cameras from 4 different manufacturers that don't look alike, and it's like, oh, well, I've got 2 Canon cameras that are pretty red heavy, but then it's like I have 2 Panasonic cameras as well that are a little bit more blue heavy. And then mix in a single Blackmagic camera that's green heavy. Right. Like, and your colorist is sitting there pulling his hair out because he's trying to match four manufacturers. Right. And we're not in the cinema world. Right. So it's not like he's getting, a raw data that he has real full control over. So that's where ecosystems come in. Right. Yeah, and that's where if I had to feather a guess, I've never even heard that. I don't know why that just came out of my mouth. I'm just like, that's where I'm at today. If I had to fathom a guess, that's the word I was trying to come up with.
I thought you were like your fudge a guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, fudge a guess. Yeah. Is Blackmagic was a broadcast company, right?
Yep.
Studio cameras, and PTZ cameras didn't exist in that like television studio, because like go to their website, right, and look at the imagery, right, is that imagery has started to change because they are starting to cater to different styles of industry. But they were broadcast, they were news camera equipment, right? Broadcast.
All their stuff is from studios. If you look at their website, it's studio images.
Right. And now that's starting to change a little bit because their cinema line is so big. Right. And like they understand that the house of worship market is huge. Right. So they're not like posting pictures of, their cameras in churches yet, but they do understand that that's one of their markets and why they're going after that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have half of the features that they have if they weren't paying attention to house worship markets. So I will say that we're probably only on like Gen 3 of their cinema cameras, and we finally got a box cam. We're 2 gens into broadcast cameras from them. I bet you the next major release will probably be a PTZ camera, because even now, like like our local like news stations, they have PTZ cameras in them now, right?
Robot.
And so so it's become a new standard to have. And Blackmagic isn't necessarily the blazing of trails company. They're usually, what's cool technology that's out there? Can we improve on it and do our own version of that? And can we do it for cheaper? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Blackmagic didn't invent raw filming, right? But they figured out a way to make B-raw, right? Which is Blackmagic Raw. They figured out how to do that really effectively and do it really cheap.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. Blackmagic will be releasing a PTZ at some point. Let us know your comments and thoughts about PTZ versus man camera. We want to hear them. Love to bring them in and talk about them in the show as well. Or if you got a really cool setup and rig and ecosystem you like, shoot us a photo.
Pictures. I would love to see pictures. Comment down below. Let us know like how crazy are we? Are we like we missing the mark? Is there a glaring thing that we missed here? I would love to know.
All right, Justin, what else we got to do to wrap up the show here?
Don't forget to hit subscribe. Share this with 10,000 friends. I know you all have 10,000 friends. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Instagram. Share it on X, Twitter thing, whatever that is.
X.
Share it on the TikToks. When you get to a certain age, you have to refer to all these things as the and then whatever it is. So it's like, make sure you share it on the Facebook instead of share it on Facebook. Make sure you share.
A funny scene about that in some movie I'm forgetting about.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm getting old.
We are. Everyone that's listening to this is getting old.
Literally.
Like they're a little older now. They're a little bit older now. See, look, they're even older now. All right, we should probably go. All right, thanks guys for watching. Until next time, I'm Justin, and this is J-Ho. Keep on enhancing.
Keep on enhancing. That's a good one. Get